If you're looking to get started in property development, then there are 5 things I would like to discuss in this video that you should pay particular attention to in the early days of your property development venture. And a lot of this is actually covered in my book, You a Property Developer, which you can get a copy of for free. All I ask is that you pay for the postage and packaging. Small price to pay for, I believe, some great information. So let's have a look at these 5 areas that you should consider before you get into property development. The first thing is that you should be looking for land now. And the reason I say that is that people often underestimate how long it takes to find a development site. Now, you can of course go on to Rightmove, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and you will find sites up for sale. But actually, that's not the way that we recommend that you find sites. We recommend that you find off-market land sites. These are by approaching landowners who probably haven't even thought about selling you the particular site that you are looking at and are interested in. And then there's a whole process of assessing that site, going through the negotiations, taking it through planning. And so it takes quite a long time to actually really get started. In other words, to put the buckets and diggers into the ground. So you need to really start early. This can be done very much on a part-time basis, and it will take you going through several sites before you will find the right site for your development proposition. So my advice to you is start now looking for those sites. Don't say, well, I'm actually not ready to do this for about another year, because it could actually take you a year to find your first site, or at least to get it to the point where you are ready to start building it out. So very much start early. It doesn't take not a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of time, but what you do need to do is you need to have consistency in that effort. So if you're willing to spend 5 to 10 hours a week, then you can start that process of looking for land, and then when you are ready to take it to the next stage, you will have that deal in situ. And the other thing is, you don't actually need the funds to do that straight away, but we'll talk about that again later on in this video. The second thing, and you might say, well, you would say this, is pay for education. And the reason I say pay for education is it's actually the most economical thing to do. You can find lots of different resources around the internet. You can find different things which will help you on that journey, but you're going to have to do that research, whereas education puts it all in one place. You're then able to tap into the experience of someone who's actually done what you want to do. This will not only save you an awful lot of time, which I believe is the most valuable resource that we have, but secondly, it will actually save you money, because you will make mistakes. I'm not saying that you still won't make some mistakes, you will, but you will save so much money in the mistakes that you potentially could make. I'll give you an example. When I first started this process, back in 2005, looking for my first development site, and then eventually building it out and successfully selling it on and making over £100,000 profit. It seemed like a very good deal. What I now know, looking back at that, was that there's at least £25,000 to £30,000 worth of mistakes that I made in that process. So that's why I really implore you to get some education. We obviously provide education. I'm not saying that you have to get it from us. What I am saying is that you do need to get educated in this business, because ultimately it will save you 2 valuable resources, time and money. And so education, you need to look at as an investment in your future. It's an investment in you, and the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. The third area, and I briefly touched upon this in the earlier part of this video, is don't be looking on Rightmove for your deals. What you will find is that land is on Rightmove. It's gone through planning. It will have planning permission in place. Very often it's not full planning, so you still actually have to apply for full planning or reserved matters. It will usually be outline planning, which actually is not as great as most people think it is, but it puts the value of the land up because it's established in principle that that planning is available on that site. What you actually don't know is the detail of that, and that can severely affect what you can put on that site and therefore the valuation of that site. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there's going to be a lot of competition for that site. Everybody else is looking at that site, where when you look for off-market land, you're the only one generally looking at that site. That competition will then have the effect of further pushing up the price because it will be in demand. And if it's not in demand, then you need to question why it's not in demand, because there could be something seriously wrong with the site. And so therefore, the pushing up of the valuation, the extreme competition that's going to be involved with that. And then the third area is, because of all of that, what you will find is that you need to move very quickly, and as a result of that, you may not check it out properly, and therefore you may make a very expensive mistake by having to rush the whole process. And the fourth area is that you're going to have to pay for that now, whereas actually, if you're finding off-market land, you can often delay that payment until you're ready to start the build. And bearing in mind that with this on-market land, with outline planning permission, you're still going to have to take it through the planning process to get full planning, and then you're going to have to satisfy building control regulations, which means that you've owned that piece of land for quite a long period of time, and therefore you've actually tied up your money, and you can't look at other deals because you've got all your money tied up on that. So don't use Rightmove, it would be my advice. The fourth area is knowing your build costs. Now, I've done various videos on this, and I keep repeating it because the most important thing is that you cannot properly assess a site unless you know what the build costs are in your area. So I'll put a link to that video there where I talk about how you assess build costs and how we solve that problem. But the many factors that come into the build costs is really important to understand. So if you don't know your build costs, how do you know what the value of the land is? Because it's fundamentally, if it's going to cost you, say, 500,000 to build out the site, or if it's 700,000, that's a £200,000 difference. So that only eats into your profit, or in fact may put you into a loss situation. So you need to know what your build costs are when you are evaluating a site. So that's something that very early on you need to get a handle on. The fifth area is having funds available. You actually don't need to have the funds available until you are ready to start building out the site. Now, there's various reasons for that, but fundamentally, the first thing that you need to do is to get the deal, and then once you've got the deal, then you can get the funds. No lender, whether that be a private investor or a commercial lender, is going to look at something that doesn't have any numbers attached to it. So until you know what the deal is, then they've got nothing to look at, and nothing to get excited about. Investors, whether private or commercial investors, want to know two things. One is how they're going to get paid, in other words, the interest that they are going to get paid for lending you the money. And secondly, how are they going to get the money that they lent you back? And until you've actually got a deal to present to them, you can't show them those two things. So don't worry about having the funds available until you have the deal. The first thing is focus on getting the deal, and then focus on raising the funds. Now, all of this stuff we can actually help you with. Remember, you can get a copy of my book, which is a useful introduction to this process. But if you want to take it a stage further, then go and visit our site, builditandprosper.com, which will give you various options that you can follow to get you started in the exciting world of property development. Hopefully you have found that useful. If you would like to see more of our videos, then there's plenty of videos around on this site. There's over 200 now. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit our notification bell to make sure that you're notified when new videos are released. And also give this video a like if you've liked it. Until the next time, I look forward to speaking to you then. Take care.